So, hello, everybody, and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Welcome back here, BSN. This is the BSN podcast here today. It is Thursday, October 8th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. I know I did. Hopefully you did as well, and I'm having a good day so far today. It is, in fact, Thursday. It is almost the end of the week, almost week 5 of the NFL season. Just a little bit later on today, it will be the start of week 5 of the NFL season. Should be very, very exciting. A lot of good games on this weekend. We kick off with probably the best game, the best matchup, involving two skill-wise teams this week, as it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Chicago Bears. It should be a very, very, very good game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a decently scoring game. I hope that the Bears, every little bit that Allen Robinson has a huge game. I'll talk about him in fantasy. Yankees lose again yesterday. Tell you what, it's going to be talked about for a long time. That Game 2 move that they made with David Garcia and J.A. Happ, it's going to be talked about for a long time. It will go down as, one of the bigger what-ifs in Yankees history. You don't bring in J.A. Happ, what could have happened? So it is a very big what-if. We lose again yesterday. Looked sloppy. Nothing like the Yankees that we want to see. They play tonight and try to keep their season alive tonight. Game 4 of the ALDS tonight. Montgomery gets the ball for the Yankees. Needs to be solid. We want to see the Montgomery we saw at the beginning of the year, not the Montgomery we saw late in the year where you could barely even go 4 innings. So hopefully we get the right Montgomery today, because when Montgomery's off, it's bad. So hopefully we get the right Montgomery today. And Thursday Night Football, all that good stuff. Another packed sports day. And then tomorrow is more baseball. Even if the Yankees lose tonight, you still got a ton of more playoff games. Saturday's all that college football and some more baseball. And then you got Sunday all the football. I mean, it just keeps on coming. It's crazy how 3 months ago we were talking about 4 months ago there was nothing on, and now everything's on. I mean, every sport's on. The 4 major sports are all on except hockey because they finish up their season. But it is pretty crazy. So hopefully the NFL can continue, right? There's been some rumors swirling around the NFL that, there might not be a game played. So, hopefully the NFL just continues on with the season. So, this is the topics for today. We got the Yankees MLB playoffs and their predictions. I'll be predicting the Yankees games, giving you my thoughts, my opinions, kind of also yesterday's game and stuff like that. Then we got the Thursday night game, the Buccaneers versus the Bears in fantasy football. Should be exciting. Fantasy football again. Week 5 of fantasy starts up. I'm 2-2 in both leagues. I'll talk about both leagues with you guys. And then as well, with the Yankees as our last topic, we'll be talking about the Yankees. My thoughts on the Yankees, kind of what's gone on with the Yankees, because at the moment it is not a good situation for the New York Yankees. We have to win 2 straight against a very good team. So hopefully the Yankees can win tonight, and tomorrow Cole's on the mound on a short rest. So hopefully he can come out and have another good performance. So with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So yesterday was another day of the MLB playoffs. Yesterday was, in fact, another New York Yankees loss. Yesterday, the Yankees went down 2-1 in the ALDS, and Yankees did not play well, period. I mean, there's not much else to be said. They just did not play well. It's just one of those things where we did not show up to the ballpark. I mean, we just did not show up to the ballpark. It's just one of those things that we just did not show up. I don't know what it was. We were blown out right out of the gate. We looked sloppy right out of the gate. We didn't ever look good. It was bad. The pitching was horrible. Tanaka did not have a good game. Tanaka's been the shakiest I've ever seen him in the playoffs out of me watching the Yankees ever. I mean, he's been probably the shakiest Tanaka I've ever seen in the playoffs. And I don't think you really disagree with me here, right? Because look at what he did last year. Yeah, I mean, his career's got 1.27 ERA, I think, in the playoffs. This year, first game went 4 innings. Second game went 4 innings. He can't even get the 5th, and he's allowing like 9-10 runs total. Tanaka has not looked good in the playoffs, and that's a problem. Because if the New York Yankees do somehow win this series, move on to the ALCS against the Astros, more than likely, actually, I don't know. A's play well. Against either the A's or the Astros, I don't want to say anything yet. Against either the A's or the Astros, you need Tanaka to step up, and Tanaka has not been able to do that yet. And this is where the Yankees pitcher every single year comes back to bite them. Every single year, we're quiet at the trade deadline, and look what happens. Every single year, we run into these predicaments where we get to the trade deadline. Oh, hopefully we can get this player. This player's on the market. Let's try to target in. Brian Cashman, same answer every year. We knocked on all doors. We just couldn't get an answer. So, it's every single year, people. And once again, it's coming back to hurt the New York Yankees. J happened game 2. Tanaka yesterday. And hopefully today, it's not Montgomery, but it very well could be again. This is once again the same thing that happens to the New York Yankees every single season. The pitching late breaks, busts, breaks down, and we lose in the playoffs. We need pitchers that are going to give us more than 4 innings. Brian Cashman, you need a starting pitcher who's going to get you more than 4 innings. Not a pitcher that's going to get you 4 or 5 runs and that's it. A pitcher that's going to give you at least 6 or 7, 9 or 10 Ks, 1 or 2 runs, and get you through the 7th so you don't have to go through a bullpen. And guess what? That's what the Yankees have in Garrett Cole. We only have one of them, and the rest of it's not good. Okay, the Yankees once again are blowing it with their pitching. Game 2, Hap. Game 3 was yesterday with the Tanaka. And today, hopefully Montgomery does not jump on the pitching train of bad pitching. And I'll tell you what, I would feel very confident because the Rays, their lock and started tonight. Their pitching tonight is iffy. Deep down inside, I really don't know if the Yankees win tonight, but there's that glimmer of hope because we got through Morton, we got through Glasnow, we got through Snell. Those are their 3 aces. Now we have to move on to, their bullpen, kind of a bullpen game. Then tomorrow we hit Snell in game 1. We scored 9 runs in game 1. We were able to hit Snell. They could not really hit Cole very well. So, once again, game 1, things like that. Once again, there's a chance that we possibly go out there and win tomorrow. Yankees win today, there's definitely a chance tomorrow. Also, Yankees hitting yesterday was flat. We only had 7 hits. It was flat. We had a couple hits here and there, but all in all, it was flat. And here's the problem with the Yankees, and a lot of people are probably surprised by this, and I'm not surprised because I believe in him. He's just been injured this whole time. Is Giancarlo Stanton. He's the only guy in that Yankees lineup that's really producing quality at-bats and quality offense. Judge has been quiet this season, this postseason. Voigt's been quiet this postseason. Voigt's been very quiet. And there's been times Voigt has came up in big moments of the game. Bases loaded, 2 runners on, even just a runner on third, runner on second, or like I said, bases loaded, and he has not been able to convert. You saw in game 2 of the series where the Yankees were down, they lost 7-5. They were down 7-5, first and third. Judge comes up with 2 outs in the top of the 9th. LeMahieu drives in a run, then Judge come up. Judge can't get the job done. They ended up losing 7-5. Judge and Voigt have to get it going. Stan cannot be your only offense because Stan has almost been their only offense. It's kind of bad to say that, but Stan's been the one who's been producing the most runs, have been scoring the most runs. Stanton, by far in the playoffs, has been your best offensive player. Judge and Voigt, who had good regular seasons outside of Judge's injury, he's had a good season. Voigt obviously is a candidate for AL MVP, was the home run leader. Now, I understand Voigt is playing hurt. He does have an injury in the foot. I understand he's playing hurt, but still, we do need to get production out of them. And believe me, it's easier said than done to hit a 95. It is easier said than done to hit a 98, 90 mile an hour fastball or an 82 mile an hour 12-6 curveball. It's easier said than done, but we do need production out of them. I'm not saying today we need 5 home runs out of you. I'm saying today we're going to need, even if you get out, we need to see some good at-bats out of Voigt. We have not been able to see that out of either Judge or Voigt. Judge's at-bats, he's been big into working 3-2 counts, not only this year, but his whole career. He's been big into working 3-2 counts. This postseason, he's had a lot of 2-3 pitch at bats. Either it's 0-2 swings, ground ball. Or it's 3 pitches right down the middle, just can't hit them. There's been a lot of times where Judge and Voigt can't work up counts, right? You've seen some other players do it, I know even though Gardner's hitting hasn't been stellar, he's been able to work up a count. He's had a couple 8-9 pitch counts, although Gardner's been known for that for his whole career. But if we want to win this series, I think that's pivotal. If we want to come back from this series down 2-1 and win 2 straight, we're going to need Judge and Voit to step up, because those are 2 huge bats that you're taking out of the lineup. And outside of Stanton and LeMahieu, where are you getting your other runs? Sanchez, 1 home run every 40 at bats, right? And that's another thing. This is a crazy stat. Judge and Voit have won 7 for 41 in the playoffs and only 5 RBIs. Judge has had 2 home runs. Voigt's had a home run or some a little bit more, right? Neither of these players are hitting the ball well. And I'm not saying, and like I just said, I'm not saying to go out there and hit 50 home runs. I'm not saying Judge and Voit have to go out there tonight, go 5 for 5. But even if it's a little bloop single, just to get your mind back on the right track. Because I noticed their timing's off too. Judge is just swinging out of his shoes, I noticed. And I like I said, I'm not trying to criticize Judge or anything. I'm not going to try to teach Judge a lesson here. But I do think, and this happens to me too when I play, I play baseball and stuff. Even this happens to anybody. It's not just Judge and Voit. It's not just Judge and Voit. It happens to anybody. When you're in a slump, you tend to try to force things. You tend to try to, and I know Judge is trying to do that. Judge is swinging at a lot of pitches outside of the zone just because he's trying to make some sort of contact. Right, you're so worried about getting a hit, you just start swinging at everything. Because if the only way you can get a hit is if you swing, right? So, you just start to swing at everything, and Judge has done that a lot, and so has Voit. They're chasing pitches out of the zone, and they have to both of them have to kind of just calm down. I understand. If I would just stand up there right now and face a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, I would probably swing and miss too. But they just have to, even if it's not getting on base, even if it's just walking, if you can get a 9-10 pitch at bat where you get some hard fouls or a couple, foul backs, you really work up the count, you're not forcing anything, you get on base, that's a base runner. I'll take that over a strikeout any day of the week. I'll take that over a strikeout, a ground out, or a pop-up is what they've been doing a lot. I'll take that. Even if it means a walk, even if they don't get a hit today, but maybe they get 2 walks or something, and they're forcing good, and they're getting the pitch counts high. They're forcing 9-10 pitch at bats. I'm not expecting, I need Voit and Judge tonight to hit me 5 home runs, but 2 of them, 3 by Judge, 2 by Voit, or vice versa, right? I'm not expecting that. I don't need both of them to go 4 for 4 with 4 bombs over 500 feet. All I'm saying is work some good counts, get the pitch count high, because Voit and Judge both, I don't know the exact average, but if I were to do the math correctly, they're probably seeing around 3-4 pitches in at bat, and Judge has been times where he sees a couple times his least amount of pitches he sees in at bat is 6, because so many times he forces it to a 3-2 count, and then he'll foul some back off. They're not doing that. They're swinging a lot of junk, a lot of stuff out of the strike zone, and looking at a lot of good stuff and swinging at a lot of junk. So they just have to get their timing back on and get back out there, because without their bats in the lineup hitting well, it's a big problem. You saw how the Yankees were. I mean, Voit was producing a ton of runs during that really hot stretch he had. Yankees were doing good during that hot stretch. Same thing with Judge. When Judge was hot in the beginning of the year, that's when they started off 8-1. Right? That's when Judge had 9 home runs in the first, 9 games, I'm pretty sure. He had 5 straight games where he hit at least 1 home run, right? Telling you that just continuing to do that, and when Judge and Voit are on, Judge and Stan and Voit are on, Stan's on right now. If Judge and Voit can jump on that train tonight, and even if it means just get 1 hit each of them, you build. You can't expect, I'm in a slump tonight, I'm going to go out there and go 4 for 4 with 4 bombs. You build, even if it means a little single. Even if it means last night, Judge didn't hit a sac fly. Even if it means just driving in a run. They just have to get their confidence back, and they have to get back up there on the plate and be better. That's what I really think the Yankees have to do. Pitching has to be better, too. It's tough to win a ball game when your pitching lets up 8 runs. It is. You have 4 runs, you could win a ball game very much with 4 runs. And they could not do that because they let up 8. 8 runs, you always got to think. The Yankees would have had to put up 9 runs last night. With that offense playing like it was last night, it really does hurt. And I don't want to blame this too much on the players. I will tell you what, if we lose tonight, you're going to look back. I think the momentum really got drained from us right when Happ came in. And I'm not trying to say that just because I hate Happ and I don't like Cashman and I disagree with a lot of moves Boone makes. I'm not saying that. But it is I'm not trying to say it just because of that. It is the truth. I really do think the Yankees, because the Yankees had looked nothing like. Yankees in Game 1 look like a World Series contending team. Yankees Game 2 and Game 3 look like the New York Yankees we saw while they were slumping. That is not getting hits. That is pitching struggling. That is coming up in big moments of the game and not being able to convert, right? The Yankees looked at in Game 2 and Game 3. We have to get back on the right track and win, because we know how good the Rays are. You fall behind early, and that's what the Yankees did yesterday. Fourth inning, they were already down 5-1. They fell behind early. It wasn't even halfway through the game, and they were already down by 4 runs. That's tough. That's on the pitching. That's not on the hitting, right? That's on the pitching. It's tough to come back from 4 runs when you're really just in your second time through the order. Some of these guys are really just getting their groove into the game, and up just like that, you look up and you're already down 5-1. So the Yankees have to get off, and that's another thing I noticed too. Look with the Yankees, all their games they have won this year, the Yankees have gone off to quick starts. Game 1 got off to a quick start. What was it? 3-1, I'm pretty sure. Even in the Indian series, they were able to get off to a quick start, right? Even though in the Indian series they were down, that first game, they went off to a quick start, 6-0, I think. And even in Game 2, when they were down 4-1, it was in the third inning when I think Urshela hit that grand slam. That's a good start. It's not a quick start where you score in the first inning, but it's a start. It's better than going 1 run through 6 innings and then deciding to score, right? That's the problem. You can't wait till the last inning to try to draw together at bats, draw together hits, draw together runs. The Yankees have to strike quickly, and the Rays have done that in the 2 straight games they have won. I'm telling you, baseball, it's big. Any sport, it's big to strike quickly, but especially in baseball, because if you strike quickly and you're up 3-0 through the first 5 innings of the game and you're controlling, you're good. As for football, if you strike quickly, a touchdown, quick 7-0 on the first play of the game, that team could very well come back and still win. It's very possible. Baseball, you strike quickly and you score 5 runs in the first inning, it's difficult because it's easier to, you don't see as many more runs. 5 runs through 1 inning is tough. And the Yankees did that yesterday. So Tanaka really struggled. The pitching has struggled, period. So I think these Yankees games are on both to blame. I think it's on the coaching, it's on the GM, and it's also on the pitching. The hitting hasn't been great, but, you also got to realize Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Charlie Moore, and you can make the argument they have the best pitching staff in all the league, and they're still hitting decent. Not what we want to see, though. The Rays had 13 hits yesterday. It's tough to lose a game when you get 13 hits. It's also tough to lose a game when you put up 8 runs, including 4 in 1 inning. It's also very, very, very tough to win a game when you only score 4 runs. It's also very, very tough to win a game. And you've seen how these playoffs be. All of them are high scoring. Look at these ones. 6-5, 8-4, 9-7. 2-0 was low. But you know what I'm saying? All these games have been high scoring. 3 out of the 4 games yesterday were high scoring. 9-7, 8-4, 6-5. They were all high scoring. Except the 2-0 game with the Braves and the Marlins. But that's because the Braves pitching has been stellar. So, the Yankees need to come out today and be a lot better. Very better. They can't just be the New York Yankees we've seen out. We need the New York Yankees we saw in Game 1. That got all of our hopes up. So, these are some of the games also that we saw yesterday were played. The Marlins and the Braves played yesterday. Braves win 2-0. 4 hits. 1 error, 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 error. Marlins, no runs, 3 hits, 1 error. Marlins, I noticed yesterday, had the same problem as the Yankees, except actually switched. Their pitching was on, their hitting's off. And that's kind of been the Marlins story for the season. They got off to a quick start, they just can't finish it. And the same thing I feel like will go for today, too. I think their hitting just can't seem to get around this Braves pitching for some reason. Something about this Braves pitching, which I don't think is all that good, Marlins just can't come around. Braves pitching isn't horrible, but it's definitely not like if they were playing the Rays or something. I think the Marlins need to be a lot better in a couple different ways. And they're down 2-0. And I really do think that the Marlins did, in fact, hurt themselves yesterday. They did, in fact, hurt themselves yesterday. They had the momentum going in that game. It was 4-1. You got one of the better lineups in baseball, only to 1 run through 2 innings, and in third inning you come up and, there it goes. There it goes. You throw at him, and it's almost like the J. Happ move for the Yankees. It's like it's same thing with the Marlins. You throw at them, and now the Braves have just been dominating since that. So I don't think the Marlins win today. I think the Braves win today. But the Braves are just playing well, and their pitching has been surprisingly insane. Next up, we got the A's and the Astros. Oh, surprise or shocker, another 9-run game by a team. This series has been high scoring to say the very least. First game 10-5. Yesterday was what, 10-5. Yesterday was 7-5 something. Or no, yesterday was 9-7. First game was 10-5. Game 2 was 7-5, I think maybe. Yesterday was 9-7, and now game 4 is today. And the A's have their backs again. A's played well. And I'll tell you what, the A's get to the bottom of this Astros rotation, there's definitely a big chance they could definitely do successful. Because this this Astros rotation, Greinke, Lance McCullers, and outside of them two, it's kind of, Verlander's out, and got no Verlander, the A's need a if the A's can hit, and the A's have been hitting them, their just pitching has to be better. If the A's can get their pitching to be better, the A's are in a certain situation the Yankees are in. They can win ball games. They need their pitching to be better. Their hitting has been fine. Pitching needs to be better. Yankees hitting has been fine outside of Judge and Higgie's been good. LeMahieu's been good. Stan's been good. Hicks has been surprisingly very good. He's had 2 triples, I think, already this postseason. He's been surprisingly good. Frazier's been good in his time there. Gardner had a good series in the wild card. Now he's struggling a little bit now, but that's also because he's getting one at bat every game. It's tough to come in and pitch hit, right? There's a lot of guys on the Yankees that have been doing pretty good. So the A's, same thing. They have a lot of guys. They maybe 6-7 guys out of that 9-guy order has been able to get hits, have been able to produce runs, have been able to produce big plays. Their pitching needs to get on the right track. Once again, yesterday allowed 10 hits. A's win 9-7. Yankees already talked about that game. Now we have the Dodgers and the Padres. Dodgers won 6-5. This was another one of these high-scoring games. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It really is. Game 3 tonight. Padres backs against the wall. They got to win tonight. Padres yesterday. And the Padres in the first 2 games of the series. Game 1 on Tuesday and Game 1 yesterday, which was Wednesday. The Padres were winning in both of those games for 4 or 5 innings. And then the Dodgers came out and their offense just took over late. And I know this is the problem. The Padres bullpen is not strong enough to hold some of these late game rallies by the Dodgers. They just can't. Dodgers are rallying late, getting some big hits late, big plays late. As for the Padres bullpen, just can't handle that. Bellinger had a beautiful catch yesterday. You talk about that of a game-changing play. Talk about game-changing plays. They won by 1 run. Robbed the home run from Tatis Jr. He hits that home run, you win the game. It's a tie game. I don't know if it would have been a 2-run, 3-run grand slam, whatever. But either way, you at least know it would have been tied. But I noticed with the Dodgers the big key with the Dodgers is I noticed that they are really, 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 really coming back. You might get some of these guys like the Dodgers, you might get some slow starts, and the Padres have been able to. What I noticed with the Padres though is the Padres are scoring runs. They're not loading them on though. They're scoring. It's not in abundance, though. It's 1-2 runs every 4 or 5 innings. It's not 4 runs 1 inning. It's 4 runs through 9 innings, right? They're scoring runs. They're getting leads. But I think what the problem with the Padres is they're relying too much on their pitching. They're getting run. Hold them. And then there it goes. Yep, your pitching busts. Your pitching can only bust. It's almost like it's like tightly compact, and then all of a sudden you're like hold them, and it pops, and your plan completely pops, and then late game decisions, Dodgers win, and the Dodgers have been able to definitely get some good late game plays. Now we move on to these games today. Braves Marlins. I think the Braves take this game. I think they win it again. The Marlins just have not been able to hit, and I think it would probably be the same thing again today. I just don't know if I just don't really know if they can hit. The Marlins just haven't been able to hit this Braves pitching. They were able to hit it in Game 1, and then they after that hit by Acuna, other than that, it's just been downhill since that. So the Braves, I think, win today, and they win the series, and they move on to the NLCS. Today we have the A's and the Astros, the cheaters. A's have Frankie Montas on the mound. Astros have Zach Greinke on the mound. 3:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is gonna be a good game, I think. I want to say the A's. I want to say the A's will win. I want to say the A's will win. just because they've been hitting so well. But this is the one problem with the A's is they're going up against Zach Greinke. And I just said 5 minutes ago that I just said about 5 minutes ago, guess what? You got to probably, the A's have been able to hit some good pitching, but when it comes to Greinke, he's a very good pitcher. So the A's have to come out and really have their bats ready today. 3:35 p.m. Standard Time. That game, first pitch will officially be off there. Frankie Montas is a very, very, very good player. He's a good pitcher. He's got a lot of good gas on his pitches. Got a good arm. But I think the A's win this game. I actually think this game, because of the two pitching matchups, I do think this game's a little low scoring. I think it's going to be 6-4. They win. The A's win. Not 9-7, 6-4. I think the A's win. And I'm kind of saying that because I do want the A's really to win. I just don't want to see the Astros move on. It would be an incredible story to see the A's come back from 2-0, beat the cheaters, and move on to the ALCS. Then we have the Yankees-Rays game. We'll preview that in a little bit. Then for 9:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Dodgers-Padres. Dodgers got Dustin May on the mound. Padres, Adrian Moron. I think the Dodgers win. I just think at a late game, the Padres are able to score one run every couple of innings. Just not enough because the Dodgers can pour it all. Dodgers can pour on 6 runs in 1 inning. Padres can only get 1 run every 5 innings. So the Padres hitting has just not been the Padres hitting. With all those insane bats in that lineup, 1 through 9 in that lineup can hit a home run, can come up big in games. They just haven't been able to do that. I do think the Dodgers win. I understand Dustin May's on the mound, but I know he's not their ace. He's good, but not their ace. I do think the Dodgers win though today. I just think I think they win it all, and an excellent season. A pretty insane season for the Padres. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season a Padres team like them would make it, and they've been competing with the Dodgers. They're not winning, but they've been competing with them. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season they would have made the NLDS, I would have probably, I probably would have disagreed, unless if you told me 15 games into the season, I would have probably agreed because I did say after that incredible start by them at first 10 games, I did come on the podcast, I'm pretty sure, and say they could very well be a playoff team. But if you would have told me before the season started that they would have made the NLDS and played the Dodgers and been competitive in the games, they're not winning, but they're competing in their close games, I would have been no. I would have said no. I just would not have saw it coming. But the Padres have had an excellent season. I do think it comes to an end tonight. Dodgers win, I think, 9:08 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Then we have the Yankees and the Rays. Ryan Thompson's on the mound for the Rays. Jordan Montgomery's on the mound for the Yankees. Key to victory tonight for the New York Yankees is Jordan Montgomery. It's weather, it's the pitching. It all comes down to the pitching at this point. We can get through this game. You got a very good player tomorrow in Cole pitching. You just need to get through today's game. You get through today, it's like, okay, all right, you got a chance. There's definitely a solid chance that you can move on. And that's really the big thing. I think tonight's going to be our last night, that last game where tonight's going to be the last game. If we win this game, if tonight's going to be one of these games, this is going to be the last game of the series where you're going to really feel like, you just have to cross your fingers. The pitching's kind of just up in the air. It's a toss up. It really doesn't. It really all depends on how the game goes. As for tomorrow, you have a starter that you can really trust in Garrett Cole. He is on short day's rest, but I do think Cole can definitely get it done. He's a veteran. He knows what it is pitching on short day's rest. He knows how big those games are. Game 5, any game, any elimination game, any deciding game is big, and he knows how to play in those games. I'm gonna give the Yankees the win tonight only because do I think they'll win? Deep down inside, no. I'm just gonna give them the win just because I hate saying they're gonna lose, especially in the playoffs. But 6-5. I think it's just going to be one of those games where we're going to have to come out early and we're going to have to dominate. In order to win this game, we're going to have to come out and jump on them early. You've seen it. And I'm not lying when I say that. I'm not just saying that to just come up with random dumb things. Look at the numbers, people. The games Yankees have won this postseason and that regular season, they've jumped out early. They've gone out onto leads early starts. Look at the record. What is it, 26-2 when they're leading by past 6 innings? When it go after the 6th inning, if the Yankees are still winning, they're 26-2 on the season, which means they've been able to get off to quick starts, hold that lead the rest of the game. Yankees get off to a quick start, you get off to a 6-7, even if we score 2 runs in the first inning, okay? You keep adding on. 2 runs in the first inning. Maybe the next 2 innings you don't score anything. All of a sudden you go into the 7th. It's a 4-3 game. Okay, you have runs. We need a lot more runs than trying to pour it on late. You can't always rely on these late inning rallies. You can't always be like. It's almost like waiting for an assignment to be due, right? Your assignment or whatever you were done. It was got assigned to you a month earlier, and you wait till the day before it's due to try to do it all. It's too late. Same thing in baseball. It's the exact same thing in baseball. You can't, if you had 8 innings before that to try to score a run, and you can't, and all of a sudden the 9th inning you decide, let's try to score a run and get some rally going, it's too late. It's too late. The Yankees need to pour on runs early so we can win this game. You need to pour on a run early, get Montgomery run support, and then you can cruise from there. That's what the Yankees need to do. So, hopefully the Yankees win. It's going to be a very, very, very interesting game. I just hope they can win. So, yeah. So, that's what I got for the New York Yankees. Coming up next, we got the NFL game tonight. So, we got the NFL. We got a very good game tonight. I'm excited. Buccaneers Bears. It's going to be a good game. I definitely think it's going to be an interesting game. Buccaneers Bears tonight. Thursday night football. Little Thursday night football action. If I could find. Alright, so coming up next, we got the NFL game tonight. We'll be back. All right. All right, so here we go. So, the Buccaneers, sorry about that. Water went down the wrong tube. All right, so Buccaneers, Bears tonight. This, if you're talking skill-wise, player-wise, impactful game-wise, this is probably the best Thursday night game tonight. Because let's go through the Thursday night games. So it was the Browns, Bengals. Okay, first off, it was Texans, Chiefs. That first game was very good. You're coming to this season 2 playoff contenders. Now you look at it, Texans fire their head coach. They're 0-4. Chiefs are riding high, but that game, at the end of the day, did not have much impact because it ain't going to decide much. Week 2, it was the Browns, Bengals. Browns are winning games. Bengals are winning. Had a decent impact. Week 3 was the Jaguars, Dolphins. 2 teams ain't going to make the playoffs. Week 4, Jets, Broncos. 2 teams ain't going to make the playoffs. Week 5, on the other hand, 2 teams that could very well make the playoffs. And that is the Chicago Bears 3-1 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 3-1. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that these 2 teams are, going to make the playoffs, but I don't believe in, I don't really believe this whole, I still not buying into this whole Tampa Bay Buccaneers, get on the Buccaneer, wagon and come ride it. I'm not jumping on it yet. If they're riding high, 6-1, 5-6-1, I might, get on it and be like, yeah, this is a legit team, but at the moment, they just haven't, I just don't know. Look at their best opponent they played, the New Orleans Saints, and they still couldn't beat them. I understand that was their first game. I understand they were still knocking out some of the kinks and stuff, but look at the other teams they beat. The Panthers, the Chargers. Chargers are good, but Chargers are decent, but those are teams that ain't going to probably make the playoffs, and you beat them. Team that is going to probably make the playoffs is the Saints. They lost to them. So, I'm not quite buying into this whole, jump on the Buccaneers wagon, ride it with us all the way to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to do that yet. If they're 7-1, 8-1, and they're top of the division, Brady's throwing touchdowns everywhere, Evans is healthy and back and playing well, then okay, then you got something rolling. But for the time being, for the moment right now, I don't believe this is the team that's going to get it. I don't really believe this is a team that's going to go to the Super Bowl. They're 8-9-1. Okay, then you're talking. 3-1. A lot of teams right now are 3-1, including the Chicago Bears, who we'll get to in a second. And do I think they're a Super Bowl contender? No, they had to bench their starting quarterback for Nick Foles. So no, there's a lot of teams right now that are 3-1 that might not do much. There's a lot of teams that are 3-1. There's a lot of teams that are 2-2. That there's a lot of teams that could very well be 3-2 coming out of this week that could that ain't gonna be considered anything special. So, with that being said, tonight's game is Thursday, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is in Chicago. Should be very fun to watch. I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a good game. I'll probably be watching the Yankees game, but I'll watch it in between innings, probably on my phone or something. But the Buccaneers come into this game. So I've heard the line is balanced. I've heard it was 3.5, then 3. I'm just gonna go with what this tells me. It is 3.5. Buccaneers are 3.5-point favorites against the Bears. I personally think it's gonna be a pretty good game. I think these are two teams that are definitely a chance to make the playoffs. Record-wise, this is the best Thursday night game of them all. You look at the other Thursday night games. Texans under 500. Bengals under 500. I think the Bengals are way better than what the record shows them. Jaguars and Dolphins under 500. Jets and Broncos under 500. These are the two teams that are above 500. The teams before this that have played on Thursday night that are above 500 are the Chiefs and the Browns. Other than that, Texans below 500. Browns below 500. Dolphins, Jaguars below 500, Broncos, Jets below 500, and now tonight you finally get two above 500 teams, two 3-1 teams coming into this game. I really believe the winner of this team could really be riding high, and I'm not saying that just because just because 4-1 is a nice shiny record. I'm not just saying that. I really do believe this. You start off the season 4-1, you should feel pretty confident about how the rest of the season's going to go. It's the same thing. By week 5, by the end of this week, when I'm sitting here on Monday, you'll get a good idea of who's going to make the playoffs, who's not going to make the playoffs, right? If there's any 0-5 remaining teams, you could throw them in the trash. They ain't making the playoffs more than likely. You get a 2-3 team, okay, there's a chance you're borderline 3-2, borderline 4-1, borderline 1-4. More than likely, you can throw them in the trash. How about this? This is for it. If Monday, 0-5 teams, you could put them in the dumpster fire. The dumpster that's on fire, you could throw them in there. 1-4 teams, you'll throw them in the trash because it's not as bad as 0-5, so you'll throw them in the trash. 2-3 teams, they're almost in the trash. Not almost in the trash, but they're near it. They're near it. They're definitely, on the list. 3-2, you keep out there. 4-1, you keep out there. 5-0, you hang up on you put up on the refrigerator. Right? 5-0, you put up. 4-0, you keep it, and 5-0, you can put up on the refrigerator. Right? That's kind of how it goes. So I do think the winner of this game will be riding high. It is very hard to come back from a 1-4 deficit, an 0-5 deficit. For example, if the Jets lose this week, we're going to have to win 11 straight to be 11-5. Every single week, that is one less win. The Jets lose this week, which I do think they probably will. Spoiler alert, I think the Jets will lose again. Not that I've picked them to lose all 4 of their games so far this season. I'll pick them to lose again tomorrow, more than likely against the Cardinals, unless if some wacky thing happens where Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins aren't playing, but for the time being, the Jets, I do think, will lose tomorrow, especially that Darnold's not in. Flacco is much worse than Darnold. You could say, Darnold doesn't make that much of an impact either way. Well, does Flacco make an impact? But I do think tonight's game, the winner of this game will be riding high. 4-1 record, you should feel pretty confident. Any 4-1 record, even if it's 3-2 through week 5, you feel confident. You're like, we're above 500. You're more than a quarter way through the season. All right, we're doing pretty well. you can definitely build on this win. I do think this win could very well be a builder, right? You're 4-1, all right? Let's keep building. It would be nice to go into a kind of a short bye week, right? They call Thursday night games kind of short byes because after your Thursday night game, you get off Friday, you get off Saturday, get off Sunday, you return to practice on Monday, you go out there and practice, and then the next week you play, right? So, going into that little short bye week you have, that 3-4 day little short bye week you have, you could, it is nice to go into, after this Thursday night game to be 4-1. Also, that's a quick week, right? You're 3-1, you get a nice win. Now the Bears are coming off a loss, but for the Buccaneers' sake, right? You're 3-1, coming off of a nice win. If you win this game, you're 4-1. Boom, you're riding high. Bears, on the other hand, this could be a decider because they lose, against the Colts. Offense look horrible, lost 19-11. Now you play this game, if you lose 2 straight, things aren't working for you. All of a sudden, you're 3-2, and you're like, just 5 days ago we were 3-0, and now all of a sudden we're 3-2. It's like 2 quick losses, and all of a sudden you're like, those are 2 games that we just absolutely just blew away, right? That's the one thing, and so I do think this game could decide a lot here, but I do think the Buccaneers will get the win today. As much as I don't like Buccaneers. I'm not a big fan. I don't like Brady. And I know a lot of people love Brady now just because he's out of a Patriots uniform. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, I never hated Brady. It was Belichick." Nah, I hated both of them. If I had to choose between the two, I'd probably choose Brady over Belichick, just because I just don't like Belichick. But I do think the Buccaneers win tonight. If I can find the over/under, that would be great. I do think the Buccaneers win tonight. 31-17, I think. I just think over/under is 44.5. So 31-17, that's 48. So I take the over on the over/under of 44.5. I take the over. I think it's 31-17. Buccaneers win. 31-17, Buccaneers win. I take the over on the over/under. I just think the Bears defense is good, but this Bucs offense has shown the past 3 weeks that they can definitely score points. And the Bears offense looked flat last week, and I don't want to pick them this week to go ahead and score 28 points and make this a 3-point game. I do think the Buccaneers cover here of the 3.5 points. I do think they cover. I take the over on the over/under of 44.5, and I think the Buccaneers cover the 3.5, and they win 31-17. So that's what I kind of got there. I just, I know a lot of people really believe in this whole Nick Foles, bring him in, get him momentum, stuff like that. I'm not buying it yet because have I seen them do it? Have I seen anyone do anything special yet? No. So I do need to, this Bears offense is coming off of a brutal loss last week, only scoring 11 points, including one score very late when it didn't even really matter. They had many chances last week in the red zone where they could not convert. They did not convert. It is something that the Buccaneers have to take advantage of, and they do have to do well. Now I'm hoping the Bears offense score 10 touchdowns and Allen Robinson scores all 10 of those because I do have him for fantasy. We'll get to that in a second. I just don't know. The Bears offense looked a little shaky. Buccaneers defense isn't anything special. That's definitely the weakness of their team. Outside of Levante David and a couple guys here and there, definitely the weakness of the team. So they're going to have to come out tonight and play well because the Bears offense can be a little feisty. They have a couple good guys. David Montgomery, Foles can work up magic. You know it. Jimmy Graham's had a couple nice plays this evening. Even last week, he had a really nice hurdle. Obviously, A-Rob, Allen Robinson, you obviously know. He's good. He's a very good receiver. Definitely their number one. So they have to get him involved. Definitely. He had a touchdown last week and a touchdown the week before. So, as long as they get him involved, this should be good for the Buccaneers. So I do think that should be a pretty good game. Now we move on to fantasy for that game. Alright, so here we go. So this should be working. Okay, so here we go. So these are some of the players you could pick up in fantasy. Like I said, today I am starting Allen Robinson. It is definitely just I just think it would be a decent move. He's projected, I think, 9.1, if I can see. Let me just pull it up here. I am putting in Allen Robinson. He's projected, week 5 projection, he's projected to have 9.1 points in my league. He's projected to have 9 points. I do think he will have a decent week this year. This week, I do think so. I think, he's just gonna have those. He's had 2 really back-to-back good weeks. They project him to have 9.1, but people think that he'll get 15 tonight. I would take 15 without a doubt, especially the player I'm playing. The person I'm playing. They are more than likely to be without Stephon Diggs and Derrick Henry this week because both of them aren't playing. So if he can get off to a good start, like 16 points like he has done, or 18 points like he has done the past 2 weeks, last week he had 16, week before that 18. If he can even just give me like 17 points, be in the middle there, 17-0 with the player I'm playing, really, losing some key players, including Stephon Diggs, who leads the NFL this year in receiving yards with, I'm pretty sure, 405 receiving yards already this season through 4 games. It really is crazy what he's done for the Bills team. Same thing with Derrick Henry with the Tennessee Titans. He has those 2 players out. Those are 2 big players. Those aren't 2 players that, you could really be without. Those are tough. So, we need Allen Robinson. I need Allen Robinson this week, definitely, to have a good game for me. And Mike Evans tonight, he is still questionable. He's projected to, I think, like 9 points or so. He's still questionable. So I want to say this to you people. Keep your eye out, right? He's still questionable. He's still kind of one of those guys where you just have to keep your eye out, right? Keep it out. If it's a game time decision, you just gotta wait and see, because you don't want to play a guy on Thursday night. Don't have him not play, and then there goes one of your receivers that doesn't play, and now you only have 9 players remaining. So you do have to keep your eye on that. Allen Robinson is healthy; he is not questionable at all. But as for not DeAndre Hopkins, as for Mike Evans, he is. So just keep your eye out on that if you do have him. Some other players, David Montgomery, if you have him on his bench and you're in a situation like where you have, for example, if you're in a Derrick Henry situation where the Titans might not play this week due to the outbreak they have, you could always bring in David Montgomery if he's your backup. This is like I said, the Buccaneers' strength is their offense. It's not their defense. Their weakness is their defense. So I think the Bears will get some good offensive plays here. I'm just a little worried about the whole clicking thing because last week it did seem like there was a lot of miscommunication with the Bears. Hopefully they got that cleaned up in the short week. Obviously back to back, you obviously play Sunday, then just like that you're playing on Thursday. Short week, you got to get some of those little errors here and there. They got to get him fixed. Same thing with Ronald Jones. He had a very big week last week. He's had a couple very big weeks this week. I could really tell Brady has been able to really use him. If you have him as a backup and you're in a situation like that, or you straight up just want to play him because he is projected a lot of points. I think he's probably projected 11, 12 points. If you just straight up want to play him, I would. Now, would I play him over an Elliott or Chris Carson or a player like I don't know, just a running back or a Dalvin Cook or a Kamara? I would not. But if your secondary running backs, maybe like Kenyon Drake or Kenyon Drake's not bad, but if you want to take that gamble, or your second running backs like a Kenyon Drake, or if it's like in my situation Chris Carson, or I would personally keep Carson in. But if your second running backs like let me get up the running backs here, actually, because I can't think of it. If your second running backs like, Mike Davis or a Josh Jacobs, you could definitely possibly make that gamble. Chris Carson is still definitely questionable. Or if your second running back's like a Kareem Hunt, Todd Gurley, even at your flex. If your flex is Todd Gurley or Ronald Jones, you can make that decision. I'm keeping Gurley, but you could definitely make that decision. There is definitely, James Robinson too. You could definitely make some moves there. Ronald Jones is, he's projected to have a pretty good week, I think, this week. Obviously this year he's had a very, very, very good game. A very, very, very good couple of weeks this year. Obviously without Leonard Fournette and with Leonard Fournette and LaShawn McCoy inactive, with both of them inactive, he's going to get the majority of the carries. He's going to be that main running back. That's another thing, too. You got to look for that. He's 15th ranked on the running back chart. So I would definitely recommend if you could, possibly use him. So some players to look out for. I personally wouldn't put in Foles or Brady, even though Brady had a big week last week. I know some of you are big believers in Brady and you would start him. I personally wouldn't. But some fantasy players to start could be Ronald Jones. There's a lot of fantasy talent this week. I wouldn't start either defense. just because I just wouldn't. But I do think the players to start or players to look for if you need to: Ronald Jones, Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, David Montgomery, some players like that. Just because they are very good. They are two good players, and they are a couple good players. Just Mike Evans, you just have to watch out for. You can play Evans, just make sure he's healthy. Don't just throw him in there just because he's Mike Evans. You gotta throw him in there and make sure he's healthy. If he's not healthy and you miss out on him on a Thursday night game, that could really hurt you for the whole fantasy week. So especially for me, this is a big game for me this week. I'm 2-2 in both leagues. If I could get a win in both leagues, that would be nice. Get me over 500, that would be very, very nice. So I would really enjoy that. So especially if you're in a situation like I am, where you kind of really need a win, that would be really good for you to get a win there. So I think those are probably the players I would go to the most. Just players like that. I think Chris Godwin's out this week, I'm pretty sure, so I would not definitely, you're not going to start a player that's out. But yeah, those are definitely some of the players. I have Evans in my one league, and I have Robinson in my other league, but hopefully, both of them, hopefully, Evans plays. I'm not worried about Robinson not playing because he's not even questionable, but hopefully Evans plays is what I'm really hoping, because Evans can be almost like he can be to the Buccaneers. He can almost just make your team go from struggling to all of a sudden just dominating, and that's really one of the big things. So, yeah, it should be a good game tonight. Like I said, I think Buccaneers will win. First pick of Week 5 should be good. Now we move on to the Yankees and the Rays. Like I kind of said earlier, I hope the Yankees win tonight. Yankees are 1-2 in the series. We need a win. There's not much else has to be said. You need a win. It's very, very easy for me to say this. We need to win. There's not much else. It's not like, we need to tie. We need to win. It's the only way you can move on. So it's either the Yankees get a win, move on to tomorrow, or lose and go home. That's what the Yankees are tonight. So hopefully we get the win and stay playing some good old baseball and continue on. If we can win tonight, we got tomorrow. We got a very trustworthy pitcher in Garrett Cole. We got our ace out there, and they got their ace back out there in Snell, but we hit him in Game 1. So, if the Yankees win tonight, it is looking pretty good as long as Boone doesn't mess anything up. So, Yankees tonight, 7:05 p.m. or 7:05 p.m. time, I think. So, Yankees tonight, NFL tonight, another packed sports day again. So, with all that being said, hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.